The sun is a pale wound in a sky the color of old flint. It offers no warmth. For 3 generations, the cold has crept down from the northern ice. The slow, silent predator drinking the life from the forests. The great trees, once loud with birds, are now skeletal fingers clawing at the wind. The herds have vanished, driven south or into extinction, leaving behind a silence that gnaws deeper than hunger. Prehistoric life for these early humans has become a lesson in subtraction. The clan, 30-7 souls bound by blood and the shared memory of green valleys, is starving. Isha, the old mother, whose face is a map of droughts and hard winters, makes the decision. Her hand, thin and brittle as a dry twig, points south. There are no words. None are needed. The choice is between the certainty of a slow death here, or the possibility of life over the horizon, and direction whispered in the oldest stories. To stay is to be buried by the coming snows. To move is to gamble their last embers of strength against the unknown. Their journey is a line of weary desperation etched across a dying land. They follow the folds of the earth, seeking shelter from a wind that carries the fine grit of frozen dust, a wind that flays skin and steals breath. Ahead, the land splits open. It is a canyon, a deep, jagged scar running south for as far as the eye can see. This is the only path that offers protection from the relentless wind, the only way through the rising teeth of the mountains. They hesitate at the precipice. The air in the chasm is still, but it feels heavy, ancient. It is an entrance to another world, a passage into the planet's bones. This is a turning point in their hominid history, a forced migration that will carve a new memory into their lineage. The clan descends, a slow, shuffling column of brown hides against the red rock, swallowed by the immensity of the stone walls that rise on either side. The first day in the canyon is a reprieve, sheltered from the wind. The muted sunlight feels almost warm on their skin, but the relief is thinned. The ground is littered with bones, some old and bleached, others more recent. They find the immense skeleton of a Choliko there, its massive knuckle-minus bones scattered. But it is the way the bones are broken that silences them. The femurs, thick as a man's thigh, are not gnawed but shattered, split lengthwise to get at the marrow. This is the work of immense, bone-minus crushing power, a feeding star they do not recognize. Later, as the light begins to fail, they find tracks. They are not feline, not the familiar print of the cave lion. They are canine, but monstrously large, the mark of a pack hunter that dwarfs any wolf. A musket, rank odor clings to the air, the scent of a predator that does not fear its own smell. They press on, a new urgency in their steps, the feeling of shelter curdling into one of being trapped. As dusk bleeds across the sky, a lone scout high on the eastern ridge sees them, silhouetted against the dying light. Its profile is unmistakable, a massive head, a powerful, sloping back. A8YANO dawn. Then another appears beside it. They are not hunting. They are watching, waiting. Night does not fall in the canyon. It seeps up from the stone, a black tide that drowns the light. The first assault is not of tooth and claw, but of sound. A low, guttural whoop echoes from the rim, answered by another, then another, until the air is thick with a chorus of monstrous laughter. The sounds probe the edges of their small encampment, testing the perimeter of their courage. The clan huddles together, their backs to a sheer rock face. A single, large fire their only shield against the pressing dark. The flames paint dancing shadows on the stone, turning familiar faces into grotesque masks of fear. The children are silent, their eyes widened reflecting the fire. Every snapped twig, every stone skittering down the canyon wall, is an approaching death. The HYANOdons do not show themselves. Not yet. They are a presence felt, a pressure in the air, a rank smell on the wind. This is a battle of nerves, and it is only the beginning. Survival is now a rhythm of two interlocking fears. The fear of stopping and the fear of the dark. Their days become a desperate march, not for distance, but for defensible ground. They scan the canyon walls for shallow caves, for overhangs, for narrow ledges where the pack cannot easily flank them. The strongest males range ahead, their sharpened sticks held tight, while the others gather anything that will burn. Desiccated brush, hardened roots clawed from the dry soil, even the ancient resin minus sleeched bones of long minus dead animals. The fire is their god, and it is a hungry one. This is the dawn of primitive technology, born not of convenience, but of sheer terror. The fire must not die. A small group is always tending it, feeding it, cupping the precious embers in clay-minus-lined baskets to carry on the march. These human ancestors understand that the light is the only thing that keeps the teeth at bay. The pack learns. On the third night, they attack. It is a coordinated and intelligent assault. Two large males charge the front, drawing the clan's attention, their massive heads low, their powerful jaws snapping at the air just beyond the fire's reach. As the clan's defenders hurl rocks and brandish burning branches, the smaller, quicker female uses the distraction to skirt the edge of the light. She moves with a fluid silence, a grey phantom against the grey rock, targeting the weakest point in their formation where a mother shields her to small children. There is a sharp cry, not of pain, but of pure shock. A young man named Kale sees the phantom emerge. He does not hesitate. He lunges forward, not with a spear, but with the fire itself. A long, burning bough pulled directly from the heart of the flame. He shoves the blazing end into the HYA Anodon's face. The beast rears back with a piercing shriek of pain and fury, the smell of burning hair filling the air. It retreats into the darkness, but the spell is broken. The pack's charge falters. They have been met with a pain they did not anticipate. It is a small victory, but the cost is etched in Kale's arm. Laid open to the bone by a glancing claw, he is tended to, his wound packed with moss, but everyone knows the truth. The scent of his blood is now a beacon in the dark. The canyon has become a tomb in motion. Kale's arm is a swollen mass of black flesh, the fever burning behind his eyes. He stumbles, held up by two others. They are 20-3 now, 14 lost. They move in a tight, defensive cluster. A wounded animal that knows the predators are just waiting for it to fall. The HYA Anodons no longer bother with elaborate night raids. They are bolder, shadowing the clan in the flat grey light of day, their massive forms trotting patiently on the ridges above. Their tactic has shifted from terror to attrition. They are waiting for the weakest to falter, for the watchers to close their eyes for a single moment too long. The clan's collective life is now measured in the handfuls of dried insects and bitter roots they can scavenge while the others stand guard. Their advanced survival skills have been reduced to the most basic equation: look, watch, endure. Then, they see it, not the sun itself, but a change in the air ahead. A diffusion of light, a faint scent of wet earth and distant grasses carried on a breeze that does not belong to this stone throat. It is the end of the canyon. Hope, an emotion they had nearly forgotten, flickers like a dying ember. But the hope is laced with absolute dread. The pack knows. They have herded their prey to this final choke point. A scout returns, his face ashen. The canyon's mouth, a wider opening just 2 bends ahead, is swarming with them. The entire pack, more than 20 strong, is gathered, blocking the exit. They are no longer waiting. They are ready. To go forward is to charge into a wall of crushing jaws. To go back is to starve in the passages that have already stripped them bare. It is Isha, the old mother, who sees the only path. It is not a path of victory, but of salvage. Her eyes, which have seen 100 seasons, trace a line up the canyon wall, a treacherous, nearly invisible game trail. A thin crack leading to the highlands above the ambush, too steep for a direct assault, but just possible for the desperate. The clan can climb it, but not all of them, and not while being pursued. They need a diversion. A final, magnificent lie. The decision is unspoken. It passes between the oldest members in a single, shared glance. They are the anchor. Isha, Kale, and 3 other elders whose legs can no longer keep the frantic pace. They are the price, as the main group, the young mothers and children and the strongest hunters. Begins the perilous ascent. Ish and her for companions do the opposite. They gather the last of the wood. They take up the heaviest stones, and they walk toward the canyon's mouth. They do not run, they walk with the slow, deliberate pace of destiny, shouting challenges into the quiet, binding stones together. They build one last, defiant fire in the middle of the canyon floor. The Peg, agitated and confused by this incomprehensible act of aggression, converges on them. The last thing the climbers hear is not a scream of terror, but a full minus-throated roar of defiance, swallowed by a wave of snarling, tearing fury, the evidence of their sacrifice. The shattered bones and the few chipped stones will one day be a puzzle for a future science, a silent testament to a brutal choice in the deep records of archaeology. The 19 survivors do not look back. They emerge under the open sky, into a valley washed in the weak, golden light of the sun. They are alive. They are free, and they are utterly alone, the ghosts of their dead forever walking beside them. The 19 who emerged from the Valley of the Bone Crushers are not a triumphant clan, but a scar. They carry no songs of victory, only the quiet, intimate knowledge of what survival costs. In the grand tapestry of human evolution, their story is but a single, frayed thread, but that thread, and countless others like it, woven through millennia of fire-lit nights and desperate dawns, created the very fabric of our species. The choice made by Isha and the elders was not an anomaly. It was the codification of an instinct essential for the emergence of humanity. It is the logic of the hive, the flock, and the clan, the brutal calculus that allows the future to be purchased by the sacrifice of the present, the trust that allowed the young mother to turn her back on the battle and climb, certain that the line behind her would hold, is the ancestor of every law, every promise, every society we have ever built. That is the echo of the canyon. It reminds us that our cities and our technologies are built on a foundation of bone and altruism, and that the instincts forged in the face of the Pleistocene megafauna still stir in our blood. How much of that canyon do we still carry inside us, waiting for the long night to fall? Here, in the ledger of extinction and survival, the price of our existence was paid in full. We are the interest on their debt. But the cold is not the only force that drives the great migrations.